everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married. I seriously want to know why you always talk weird when we start that.
Because it's that whole
repetitive thing? What are you doing? It's that whole repetitive thing?
No, it's the whole like getting into like oh, we're doing a podcast now.
It's your like official podcast voice.
I'm in my newscaster voice now. Oh no.
We are Scott and John. We are I am SweetTeaNoShade.
Yes, you are.
But we are the SweetTeaNoShade knitting podcast.
Ponder that.
Shut up. Nobody asked you. And we are a knitting podcast.
Yes.
We are not a marathon runner training podcast.
That we are not.
However, you wouldn't know that from the fact that John just completed a half marathon this past weekend. In a great time.
It was super fun. So I ran, it's called here's the medal. It's called
the Badger to Gopher.
Gopher to Badger.
Gopher to Badger. Oh, that's right. Betty Ann was real quick to correct us on that.
So Badger to Gopher.
No, it's Gopher to Badger.
Shoot. Gopher to Badger. So you go to the back. Anyway, so it's a half marathon, and it starts out in Minnesota and ends up in Wisconsin, and you go across the St. Croix River, which is the river that separates the two states.
Anyone who knows how to pronounce French, in Minnesota, in the United States, St. Croix, we pronounce as the St. Croix River.
Yes.
We have a guest.
So
the St. Croix River, and I also said that with a little bit of a southern accent, but
St. Croix.
St. Croix River. Okay, really, Junior? We don't even train him to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, we are watching you.
He's going to jump down in a second, I think. Or he's going to sit and decide that it's the best place to be.
So St. Croix River, St. Croix, is the river that divides the state of Minnesota from the state of Wisconsin. Okay, we've got a cat who's knocking things off the table. At least it's not any knitting stuff. Nope, that's yarn. Nope, we're stopping that real quick. And my sock. So, we really are trying to do this podcast, I promise.
Yeah, no, we're just a little bit of a disaster right now because you can't really see. It's like right there, but like just know that bad things are happening right there.
An evil monster. Okay, now he's
going for the
Okay. This is not.
So it was fun. It was Saturday morning, and Scott was super nice. He drove me over there because the race was about 30 minutes from where we were, and like a lot of races in the summer, you have to get up ungodly early because you want to do it early in the morning. So
you don't want people to die heat stroke.
Right. So we had to be there. I think we got up at like 5:30 or something like that.
Oh, that's right. And luckily, the evil cats. We don't leave the bedroom door open because they wake us up at crazy hours of the night. But we're like, oh well, we're gonna have to get up at an ungodly hour anyway. So let's leave the bedroom door open. And good thing, cause how did your alarm not go off?
It went off, but I hit snooze.
Oh, and well, you must have hit cancel, cause it was like 30 minutes past the time we were supposed to get up.
Know.
Anyway, the cats woke us up.
In
time for John to get to that race.
Yeah, it was fine. But yeah, did it in 2 hours and 7 minutes. So I'm really happy about that. And I think more importantly is, it's Tuesday today, and I feel good. Yeah. So that's in the past when I've done them, I've like maybe injured something or not like running again for a long time, but I feel like I'd sort of pick up and go back running tomorrow. And I'm not. And
what was the thing I was going to add? Oh, so I went to the finish line, which was on the Wisconsin side in Hudson, Wisconsin. And the finish line was in this park right on the river. And then he took a bus to the starting point. And there was like an hour where I got to just sit and there was nobody else around, and I got to sit and like watch the ducks.
And work on your sock.
And knit. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And then there was a dog. There were some dogs that were some guy was throwing frisbees into the water for them to retrieve and stuff. That was awesome. So yeah, so that was a lot of fun. However, that discussion was supposed to go in what to be in the what have we been up to section. And we have totally destroyed my agenda. We need to just not even...
You mean you just not have agendas?
I love agendas.
No, the agendas are good. I mean, the agendas, they're suggestions.
I know, I'm just teasing. Okay, so we are going to start the podcast out with comments. Viewer comments, yay! And
for those, yeah.
We will put in the little timer if you want to skip past this. Just go to the description and click to the knitting content link. Okay. First off, I want to thank everybody for all of their comments about our puppy dog Grady that we had to put to sleep. So that was very nice. Everybody who's had a dog has been through that, and so I just appreciate a lot of all the stuff, all the comments. The next topic to discuss is the fact that Lee Davis, who's a commenter in our videos, is not a psycho. He is an 11-year-old nephew of ours.
He is.
11, is that right?
Yes.
You would all know him from Aaron?
Daniel and
Patrick Craziness, which is a YouTube channel here on YouTube. And he's not insane. He just likes to
Well,
he's gonna see this.
He's a little crazy.
He's a little crazy.
Hence the Daniel and Patrick craziness.
That's true.
So he likes to when he brings it, he brings it.
Now, the 11-year-old nephew wrote in the comments most recently, you are too much overdue. By Wednesday, I want episode 21, or your neighbor will steal all your knitting material. Now, I want to know which neighbor he's in cahoots
You know
with.
what? It doesn't matter because, Patrick, we are recording right now. You can call off.
He said by Wednesday, and this is Tuesday.
So we're going to be well under the deadline, so our knitting supplies are safe.
All right, so now I got that out of the way. Okay, so these are just kind of in random order. I mean, they're in order of most recent to oldest.
Sure.
Actually, why don't we do it the other way? That might make more sense.
Is that on the agenda?
So, I'm switching things up on the fly.
Oh my god.
Okay, we're going to skip past Betty Ann's comments. Skip right past those. Flower Child, who for the longest time I thought was Floor Clyde. Because it's flour like the bread dough, and child, I don't know how that is, but I thought it was Floor Clyde. Flower Child indicated in the comments that I might be a Bossy Boots.
Might.
And so then there was a conversation about that.
Did Betty Ann chime in?
And Flower Child went on to say, it's very obvious that he is a very kind man and his bossiness is purely in jest, which I appreciated. Betty Ann went on to defend me and said, in defense of Scotty, he comes across as a bossy boots for sure. Some of it is dry humor, blah, blah, blah. Now, in the comments, she says, when we are all together, he is very caring and much better at getting everyone's input.
Huh. So she doesn't quite like defend you. She just says
so she
sometimes.
starts off by saying he comes across that way, and trust me, in person he's much better than the horrible person he portrays himself as on TV.
Yeah, no, she's fallen down on the defender job.
Betty Ann is shady, is what she is.
You know, she just tells it like she sees it.
So I tried to explain to Betty Ann what shade was, and about throwing shade, and she said something about, ooh, that's shadowy, or she couldn't quite get the shade. Oh, no. So that's you're throwing shadow. Okay, so the next comment I wanted to respond to was from Danielle Brown, who said, my Pixel Rise socks were also too tight for my foot. I gave them to my mom who has smaller, thinner feet. So this is in reference to a pair of socks that are going to be featured as a finished object in this episode. And just discussion about the fact that it's when they're color work socks, you really do have to address that. And I learned that through doing that project. But it was nice to see that someone else had done this pattern
and had the same issue.
And had the same issue. Yeah. And I think I've said before, it's not the pattern. It's
just knowing how to do it.
It's about color work and
right.
not having done that before. Okay. Then Linda Landing, or Len, I would assume that's Landing, gave us a lot of really cool information about Manitoba Fiber Festival that we had talked about going to. Okay, I'm sorry, I've got to figure out how, now that I'm doing this backwards, it's printed forwards, but anyway, she provided a lot of cool information, which thank you so much. We love it when people who either from the area or know the area like talk about it. That's awesome. Yeah, so, and then she said she's all things thread on Instagram, which I can't remember if I follow her or not. I got to make sure I do that. Oh, I'm sorry. I had read this, but I'd forgot. I'd read this a month ago when she posted it. She said, talked about where to stay and said that they're across the street from the Forks, which is a really awesome area in Manitoba that Winnipeg that I've been to before, which is where the rivers come together. And then she says the Canadian Museum for Human Rights is there as well. So anyway, we still hope to go to the Fiber Festival. We haven't bought whatever you're supposed to register or anything like that, just because we're trying to figure out. We're going to Italy in a little over a year, and so we're trying to figure out the best ways to spend our money.
Also, we have to buy a new air conditioner.
Oh yeah, we have to buy a new air conditioner.
Yay!
But anyway, it's still a hope of ours that we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. Isn't that this month?
September.
Okay. So, I don't know how to say this person's name. Bentavag. Bentewag. Bentavag. I don't know. The easiest way to keep gauge when knitting a colorwork segment on a sock or any garment is to go up a needle size when you're doing the colorwork. I have not done that, and I want to try that.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean...
And I know that, I think I talked about this on the last episode, is that the wife from Fruity Knitting, Andrea, she's talked about this before, and she kind of says it as a matter of course, you know, that you always go up a needle size when you're in a colorwork section. I haven't done that yet. I will talk about what I did with the Pixelrise socks, but I tried a different technique and it worked. But I do want to try this. Beth said, the best raw and processing wool festival that I've been to is Shepherd's Harvest Festival. Now I have not clicked on that link yet, so I don't know where that is. But I don't know, maybe other people have heard of it. I'm gonna check it out. But she said, I'm going to the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival in September. Now, somebody else recommended the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival.
Yeah, but I feel like it's by Madison.
No, it's across the border from Taylor's Falls.
Where's that?
I think it's down by Red Wing.
Okay, so not impossible.
So it might not be that far. But even if it was Madison, that's not too far. It's just a couple hours. So anyway, and I'll talk more about the Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Festival when I get to that comment. Our friend Todd, the Blunt Knitter, fabulous designer of the hat that you
finished to test knit.
That you test knit, and the yellow and gray. What was the name of the hat? It's that word. That word from the Thor. We'll put it in at the bottom.
Yeah.
He said, Scott, I would love to meet Todd in person. Scott, I'm glad you don't look like an idiot in my hat. Because I think what I probably said, I actually don't look like an idiot. High praise to the designer of the hat that I don't look like an idiot in the hat. And he did say, steam block the body of the hat and leave the ribbing alone.
Yep.
So. All right. The next one was... from Wayne Yar, who said, okay, boys, all the stuff you're talking about with the sheep, the process of oh, by the way, before I read this, he posted this about a month ago, and we flipped out when we read this. Now, we haven't done anything, of course.
No, we just got excited.
Because our follow-through is a little lacking sometimes. But all the stuff you're talking about with the sheep, the process of shearing, carding, and spinning the fleeces, buying a fleece, making your own yarn, dyeing it yourself, seeing llamas and Angora goats, up close and personal, is available to you as close as St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Again, not St. Croix, but St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin. Across the river.
You know what?
Oh, no, this is the thing across the river from Taylor's Falls. I got it mixed up.
Yeah.
Anyway, my friend has a sheep fiber farm and would be happy to hear from you. You can actually help with the fall shearing.
That'd be awesome.
Freaked out how excited. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because I'm looking at myself in the mirror. It looks like I got something on my face. So excited. And but a little bit intimidated. A little bit worried that I might destroy their sheep or something. But we definitely want to. We're definitely going to reach out to Wayne and ask about that. We probably should have a month ago, but
yeah, good intentions.
Yeah, but we can still follow up on
Yeah,
that.
I'm assuming the farm's still there.
The sheep are still alive. Courtney McManus. Here is the start. You plant a seed, and it will grow into a forest. Isn't that what they say?
What? What are you...
My 9-inch circular is taking over the world.
Is that a thing?
Yes, don't you remember from the last episode I said I was going to force all people to stop using double-pointed needles or magic loop, and they're going to all have to use 9-inch circulars from now on when I run the world.
Okay.
Courtney McManus said, I just want to say thank you, Scott. I decided to give my 9-inch circular needles another shot. I'm absolutely loving them, but I agree with John. I think he said it's easier when you have a bit to hold on to. I really sailed through my second sock using them.
Cool.
That's one more person. Joe Lowe said, FYI, twisting a yarn over, I think that means on the row after you knit through the back loop to twist it. Because we were talking about Michael Vlodeman.
Right.
From...
So when you do your yarn on the second row, you knit it through the back loop.
Rather than just knitting it.
Right, to the back loop, so it makes it a little bit of a smaller hole.
Yeah, well, that Michael was talking about the fact that what he does with the lace sections, specifically he was talking about the Find Your Fade pattern, is that he twists his yarn overs so that the holes are a little small, it's a little less lacy, and it's a little more masculine looking.
Sure.
For his shawls. So that he would, Joe Lowe was just explaining that I think that means the row after you knit through the back loop to twist it. Speaking of, the only thing, the only connection to what I'm about to say is the word twisted. I'm curious about twisted rib. So I started a new new pair of socks because all I want to do is knit socks for some reason. And people have talked about doing twisted rib at the top. I think they call it twisted rib at the top of their socks, and how a lot of people have said it's their favorite. I've kind of gravitated towards 2x2 rib, 2 knit, 2 purl. I started that, and I did maybe 10 rows, and it looked like a deflated something. There was no spring to it. It was just like... and maybe that's on purpose. I'm wondering if that is kind of the purpose. I mean, it had a neat look, and it was neat looking if you held it taut or whatever. But when you let go of it, it was just kind of deflated, and there was no negative ease, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just curious if that was just a fluke, or if that's true, and that's how twisted rib. Because twisted rib, my understanding is, you purl and then you knit through the back loop.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And then you purl and you knit through the back loop, purl, knit through the back loop. So that's what I did, and like I said, it just kind of deflated. But anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the socks section. Becky Witt said, Fiber festivals are such fun. You should come south to SAF in Asheville, North Carolina. That'd be fun. I've never been to Asheville. About 130 vendors and lots of animals last weekend in October. Yeah. I don't know if it's something Fiber Festival, obviously, but I don't know what's
Southern
SAF.
Asheville.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, so we'll look that up. Wobster said, John, if you want a video on an alternate approach to the Portuguese knit stitch, this method uses even less movement than the standard one, and I find it works really fast. Did you go there?
I did
yet?
not. I didn't even look at that. I didn't even thanks, Scott, because I didn't even see that comment. So
yeah, so something to check out.
Yeah, for sure.
Then fellow YouTuber Chevy Rel, girl, I'm so glad we don't live near each other, because all we would do is hang out and drink together, and then I would be the size of a broadside of a barn and drunk all the time. Love her podcast. You guys have to check out Chevy Rel. She says, every single time I watch you, I want to knit with you and bake cakes. Betty Ann is so going to get you for this episode. Hashtag shit list. Betty Ann liked that hashtag. The thing, okay, so Chevy Roll does this thing on her podcast where, or at least the last episode that I watched, I haven't watched them all yet. I've been really bad. I think it's because it's summer and I want to be outside and want to be active, but I'm behind on all my podcasts that I watch. But she said something about, or she wanted everybody to get their cocktails, or I think she mainly drinks like super. What am I trying to say? I think she's a connoisseur of like craft beers and stuff, and so. There's a TV show, I don't know if everybody has seen it, it's called Drunk History, and they basically get these comedians and stuff, and they get them really, really drunk, and then they make them tell a story about history. My thing is, I don't like to watch that show unless I'm also drinking, because it makes it even funnier. And so that's what I feel like when I watch Chevy Rell's podcast. That was why I brought all that up. Okay. The next one is... Baba Yaya, another podcaster, wrote, please don't euthanize Betty Ann. So...
Here's we've actually learned...
I guess we'll keep her around.
It might be a little bit illegal to do that.
Not in Portland.
That's true. Well, she's not to fly, though.
We'll say, like, Betty Ann, we're going to take this awesome train ride, and we're going to take it across the country, and then we'll end up in Portland. She'll never know.
That'd be good. See, I'm glad you think these things out.
Paula Gardner says, hey, Scott, what brand of 9-inch circulars do you love for sock knitting? I love the ones that I learned on, and I have tried, she mentions I've tried the Addy Flexi Flips. I don't like the join, and the Addy 10-inch circular is also not crazy about the join and not pointy enough.
So which ones do you use?
I'm now doing magic loop and double points, but love the idea of 9-inch.
No. Which ones do you use?
I'm working on it.
All right.
So what brand of 9-inch? I love the ones I learned on, which are the Chowgu 9-inch circulars. They're pointy. I totally know what you mean about the point, especially with it being that small. You know, you need that for that small yarn. The Flexi Flips I didn't love. Oh, that's the other thing I need to remember to mail to Betty Ann. It's the Flexi Flips. The Addy, I don't remember if it was the Addy or the Sharps. Who makes the Sharps? Was it Sock Rockets, maybe? I don't know. There's some needles with, they have like a light blue cable, like a clear light blue cable. Anyway, those, I think the needles were too long. Because the needles with the 9-inch Chowgu, or the tips, I think is what they're called, the hard straight part, with the Chowgu 9-inch circulars, the tips are not that long. So...
Okay.
Why are you ignoring me?
Because you're doing something I know nothing about.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, that's what I use is the Chowgu ones, and I have like 1 million pairs of them. No, I don't have 1 million. I have 4 or 5. Okay. My True Serenity says I feel your pain with knitting socks too long. Okay, so I'm going to save this comment for when we talk about those socks, because my True Serenity is so right. I was stupid. I made the foot too long, and I'm like, oh no, I'll never be able to fix it. And I should have just picked up the stitches and fixed it. But thank you. You are totally right about that. The French Sienna says, I'm on board with the 9-inch circular crusade. And says I even do sweater sleeves with them. Wouldn't have even thought to do sweater sleeves with them.
Oh god, that makes super sense.
Yeah, so we have not gotten a sweater done, even though it's something I really, really want to do. But
we've thought about
Jane Burrell says, "Oh, so I just DM'd you on Instagram about the book with the tank top sweater vest pattern in it, and I think it was what's that mosaic knitting one?"
Mm-hmm.
And Jane, I don't think I got your message on Instagram. I couldn't find it, so I don't know if she maybe Instagram messaged you.
It's possible because I don't really know.
It'll pop up and show a number, so I would think that'd catch your attention. Anyway, sorry, Jane. I don't. I'm gonna go back and look again, but if you think of it and if you've got a minute, if you wouldn't mind maybe trying again, just because I'm interested. Dervish, we're almost done, folks. Dervish NL. Oh, so I don't know who that. I just saw this comment tonight, so I gotta find out if this person is a podcaster or what. Oh no, I don't think he's a podcaster. Anyway. Oh no, I just finished watching all 20 of your podcasts and now I'll have to watch something else while knitting until your next episode. But he said, I just started knitting last week. He designs, makes, and sells teddy bears and usually put a simple ribbon around their neck, but thought it'd be nice to make little scarves. So that got him into knitting. So I thought that was really awesome. Although he says, I don't think I'll ever be knitting socks. Life is too short to be knitting socks.
That's so true. We've already had this conversation many times. You know what? Maybe someday when I finish that first pair of socks, I'll
Meanwhile, I don't want to knit anything but socks.
It's a good thing, because if we all both did the same thing, we'd have it'd be like tribbles sock pairs in here.
There are worse problems to have than too many socks. Okay, so there's other fun stuff we want to talk about that's... Well,
nothing.
Did I say that right?
No, I was just thinking
I just played that back in my head. I'm like, wait a second, did I say that?
No. It was more like, my problem in my life is that I have too many pairs of hand-knitted socks. I'm like, wow.
First world problems.
Not even that's so, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a different level.
There are some other fun things we would want to talk about that's not knitting related, but we're going to jump into the knitting because when I let other podcasters, I'm like, oh, would you please just get to the knitting? And now it's been half an hour and we haven't talked about any knitting.
To be fair, we had the camera on for 10 minutes before we started.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
It was 90 seconds.
And there's all the junior stuff.
That's true.
Lots of. We're doing great.
Okay, John, you're up first.
Okay. So what I am working on right now is my doodler shawl. It's a pattern by Stephen West, and see, I'm just almost the.
Do you want me to go first?
Here, we'll just cut. I have this much left on the row.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience, everybody. So this is my Stephen West doodler shawl, which is officially enormous. So, you can't even see it anymore. So it's gotten so big. So it has kind of these three sections. One, which is this sort of initial lace section right here, the wing part. Then it has this cable section right here.
Which is the top of the part.
Yeah, the top part. So which is a huge cable. And I think I just started on the border, which is this right here. And it is... So the colorways, and the colors I'm using are... Oh, dear. Okay. I just want to make sure it doesn't fall off the needles or I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, we're good. So this has been kind of a fun project. I just sort of took a bunch of... So this right here, this first little darkish green is called Quidditch Pitch by Knitted Wit. I think sock yarn. And then this green, bright green, is called Sweet Artemisia, also by Knitted Wit, sock yarn, or fingering. This cable right here is Copper Corgi, Carolina Fiber Gules. And then the border is going to be in a two-color stripe. One, this sort of bright green is the Sweet Artemisia again, by Knitted Wit. And then this middle kind of darker one is Madeline Tosh. The colorway is Bittersweet.
That's right.
And I just...
How did you remember all that? Did you just look at it before we started recording?
You told me to.
Now, the funny thing is, we're going to get to... I'm like, John, you never know the names of your yarns. And we're going to get to mine, and I'm not going to know any of them.
You know what? It's a little research.
People love to know the names
No,
of your yarns.
it's fantastic. So what I like about this is, number one, I think it's coming together really nicely. I like all of how the colors are all coming together. It's going to be a nutto. I mean, it's going to be crazy.
You can't really tell because
it's all scrunched up
on the needles. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is like a 36-inch needle.
I'm a bad judge of that.
Me too. So it's completely scrunched up, almost to the point where it's getting a little crazy. So, you know, this is like it's all scrunched up. And so the fun thing is the bottom section is a series of wedges. You can kind of see it gets larger as you get, so from this it goes like this. And then, so there's 4 wedge sections, and each wedge section gets progressively bigger. I'm on wedge number 3, which has, good lord, we're only look at the pattern really quick. So wedge number 3 has 516 stitches. And wedge number 4 has 580 stitches. So I can't even...
So one row takes a month.
Well, literally, so I will be... So the nice thing is it's wedges. So the first row you go all the way across, all the way back. And then each successive row you have these stitch
short rows?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's short rows. So I just finished one row. And so for the next row, I get to knit a little bit less.
Oh. What
so
are those, like 20 stitches apart, or?
It depends. So these, the pattern is, so like this one is, so the first stitch marker is...
So they're not symmetric.
No, they're not symmetrical.
Okay, well that's cool.
So, which is super fun and very cool. And again, it's gonna be huge. Like, that last shawl I did, the oh my god, it's in that box right there.
Oh, the
Jimmy Beam's Wool
Advent calendar. Yeah,
like that was not even close to as big as this is going to be, and it's all garter stitch. It's going to block into a monster. I'm super excited, but and I don't know. I mean, as for someone who's colorblind, and maybe these look terrible, but I love.
Yeah, but you're not severely colorblind.
No,
you just like.
Right, occasionally I need a little help. But I like how I love how the green and the black just pop against each other. And I'm just happy I was able to find a place for, especially this color, the California Fiber Goals, which is going to be used on the final border edge. So I'm just excited they got to use it and find something that just it works with.
So this is a fingering weight shawl.
Yes.
And so the needle size, what that looks
it's a
like,
3.
maybe okay.
Yeah, it's a Knitter's Pride 3.
Knitter's Pride, okay.
But yeah, literally, I will do on the long rows. I will sit down and knit for an hour and get 45 minutes will get me to one pass through.
Okay, so one thing that I discovered when we were talking about this last night, we were watching TV or something. John can tell you how much knitting he can get done in how many minutes. Which says to me, we're talking about the process versus product knitter. I never know how long it takes me to do anything. Like, to me, it's like, oh, I'll just knit for however I want to forever. And then be like, oh, look how much I got done. Oh, I'll finish this eventually. Because I'm the process knitter. I'm more care about the act of knitting.
Yeah, like I'm totally about I will do a row or two.
John's like, I will do this many rows and then it'll take that many days and then I will have it done by this date.
Oh no, it's not planned out like that. I mean in my head it is, but like for example, with my other project, which I do on the bus, I can do a row in about 2/3 of my bus ride, right?
Right.
And so instead of knitting the whole bus ride, I just stop.
It's just funny. It's just interesting how people take different things or care about everything. Because it's like, to me, because you used to do that. You used to say that, oh, like, it takes about this long to do this. You'd get excited because you'd say, oh, it takes about this long to do this much. And I'd be like, how does he know that? Because
it's mostly measured in television. I mean,
it takes one episode of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I know I'm getting to the short roast because I can do a there and back a couple times in one episode of Project Runway.
We've been binge watching lots of Project Runway.
Which
season is that?
I think it's the most recent one, 15 or 16. Yeah. I don't know.
Cool.
So yeah, that's this, and it's going great. I'm very excited. You can't really see so much because it's so bunched up, the lace pattern.
Yeah, but you'll really get once you finish
I'm just for the and it because black, it's hard to see if you put like a piece
once you block it, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and so this is going to be my work shawl. What I wear when I'm cold at work.
Oh my gosh, I need one of those. I'll have to knit myself one.
So yeah, very, very happy with this. So stay tuned. I think, because I think last time we podcast a month ago, if we want to talk about how much I've done in a month, I had just picked up the stitches and started this, and so now I'm basically halfway through this wedge section, so I might have it done by the next time I podcast. I don't know.
Awesome. Wow. All right, so we're going to talk about socks now. So I What's the matter?
Oh, I'm trying to start my sewing. I'm going to keep knitting on there, just put it away for a little bit.
Okay. So I finished the saga of the Pixelrized socks. My friend Steve, I gave them to him for his birthday, which we celebrated this weekend. They turned out great, and I'll insert pictures because I don't have them because I gave them to him. But it was a saga. So the first one, I'm just going to briefly talk about what I learned. What happened. So what happened was I did the first sock, and I didn't adjust anything for the color work. So
I have a question on that one.
Yeah.
So when you swatched, did you swatch the colorwork section?
I don't swatch for socks.
Oh, okay.
Because socks are socks. Like, I know people are going to scream at their computer or whatever they're watching it on when they hear that. But yeah, I mean, I know how many... So Steve and I have very similar sized feet. So I know how many stitches it is for me and how long to make it.
Right. Okay. No, I'm just like, all the colorwork stuff that I do, they say swatch the colorwork section.
But even if you swatched, that's not going to tell you if you can fit it over your foot.
That's true. Anyway, I was just offering helpful feedback.
You're just trying to criticize me. No, I mean, I don't know.
So you don't think if you'd swatched, you would have swatched the colorwork section?
Well, so here's the problem. Maybe, but like the pattern probably would have said. I mean, I don't have the pattern in front of me, but the pattern probably would have said something like, tell you what the gauge is, and then swatch for the gauge. And this will give you a blah, blah, blah diameter. But I mean, like, my calves are a totally different diameter than my ankle, which is a totally different diameter than the bridge of my foot. So I know that 72 stitches...
will work for all of those.
...fits my foot. Mm-hmm. And anything larger or smaller than that, with sock weight yarn, or fingering weight yarn, won't work.
Right.
Now, maybe 70 inches or 70 stitches or 74 stitches would work, but 72 is that sweet spot for...
Right, and when you got...
And plus 72 is divisible by 2.
Right.
Which matters when you're talking about front and back and heel and toe, you know, stuff like that. And I don't think 72 is not divisible by 4, is it? No, it's not divisible by 4. So...
Yes, it is.
But isn't the rule that if you add...
No, it's divisible by 8, so it's divisible by 4.
Oh, I thought there was a rule, like, if you added the two numbers together...
That's for 3s.
Oh, that's right, that's for 3s. Never mind. New math. So anyway, So anyway, I did 72 stitches,
Right.
I think.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway.
But I was just
I
curious.
don't-
I wanted to make sure, because like I found with my colorwork stuff, the gauge is really, really different for colorwork versus
Yeah, I don't know.
the regular.
Ultimately, what I ended up doing, so I knit the first sock, and I didn't bring them down. I've shown them before, but the first sock I did. Oh no! That's why I didn't bring them down, was the damn sock puppet experience. So the first one I did the colored stripes with the pixel colorwork section in between, all the way down to the toe, so all the way down the foot. Couldn't get it over my heel. Learned that lesson. Then I was like, he's gonna have his foot in the shoe. I don't need to go all the way down to the toe with the colorwork stuff. So I'm just going to stop at the ankle or stop at the heel and then do the foot in black, which actually looked really cool.
Yeah,
with a red
did.
heel and toe. And then, so what I did with the second sock was that I knitted inside out. And that made a huge difference. It made it a lot more stretchy. The floats were
More even.
Well, they were
Or they weren't
bigger
tight,
or looser.
right? They were, yeah.
So that kind of fixed that problem. Well, the problem was that I measured the length of the foot based on a heel flap and gusset heel, and rather than a afterthought heel, which doesn't work. So
Ironically, that sock fit my foot.
yeah, well, that's because your feet are ginormous. So I did that, and I'm like, oh, another sock ruined, and I had to start over. Well, as whomever it was that made the comment pointed out, I could have just picked up the stitches at the appropriate length of foot, cut the yarn, and added the toe in. I didn't need to reknit the whole sock.
But you'd have to take the toe off.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to do a new toe. Or you
Oh.
could graft them together, actually. But
Right.
point being,
Right.
that would have been easy to fix, or it would have been fixable, and I just didn't do it.
But then you wouldn't have had the opportunity to knit socks forever.
Oh my god. So then, the pair that worked, not only did I knit... Sorry, I'm trying to formulate a thought here. Not only did I knit the colorwork
Son of a
sections inside out...
I dropped a stitch.
Okay. John's going to have a panic attack.
I am
here.
not. I've gotten so much better about that.
So, not only did I knit the colorwork sections inside out, but I think I reduced the number of stitches. So, in the non-colorwork sections, I think I had like 68 or 70 stitches, and then I did a knit front-back increase for the colorwork sections, and then decreased again for the non-colorwork sections. And so all of that combined worked pretty well. The thing that I didn't do, just because I didn't have 9-inch circulars of the next size up, was knit on a larger size sock. And so I didn't try to do that with a larger size sock, or a larger size needle.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
Picking up stitches is so much easier when your yarn isn't super splitty.
Yes.
That's all. Like, that was really easy, and but I've been, yeah.
I always twist my stitches when I pick them up.
Oh, I do too. I see there'll be a little tiny
Yeah.
weird knit section, but
So,
I don't care.
So what this has taught me is a lot of stuff. That's all I'm going to say. However, what I've also learned is all I want to do is knit socks all the time. I don't know why. But I wanted to mention here that Jessie from the Knit Up and Dye podcast, who has Dye Monkey Yarns is the name of her shop on Etsy, and she has her own website. I am a Patreon because I just think that the work that she does is fabulous, and her podcast is very informative, and she talks about topics that other people aren't talking about. Really love her and love her podcast. But I won some yarn in a drawing, and I wanted to show it off because it's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
So this is what it is, and I'll maybe try to show it up close and take pictures if I don't think it comes out well. But it's on her Mosh Monkey base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Myrtle is the name of the colorway, and I don't remember from the episodes I watched recently where that name came from. and I don't know if there's a theme to how I'm sorry, Jesse. Maybe I should know that, but I don't. But anyway, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got teals and purples and grays and
yeah,
greens.
I love the grays. That's
yeah.
gorgeous.
So it's just, I cannot wait to knit socks. And then she included a heel and toe mini to go with it. Which, let me see if I can get that a little better. Yeah. So it's just awesome. I can't wait to knit these. Now, the other day, I was going to the gym, and then I was gonna. Oh, it was National Night Out. I don't know. That's it's a national thing. That's a United States thing. National Night Out. It's where everybody gets out and like has a potluck in the street and meets their neighbors. Yeah. So anyway, I was going to the gym, and then I was going to be meeting. I didn't want to be in our neighborhood for National Night Out. Long story.
Well, because I wasn't there.
Well, because you weren't there, but also...
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Our next door neighbors were yucky. Anyway, so I ended up... I didn't have this wound up, caked up. So I ended up just like, oh, I need to cast on a pair of socks. So I did start another pair of socks. So my next socks will be with Jesse's yarn. However, I didn't have it caked up. So I am knitting this with some Regia. And it's from the Arnie and Carlos design line. This colorway is water something. Winter Night. Not water anything. But, I've not knit with this before, but I really like it. I really love the yarn. Oh wait, what's the content here? 75% wool, 25% polyamide. So, anyway, it's, it's... I don't know if self-striping is the right word. It's got like a pattern to it. I'm really, I love knitting socks, and that's all I want to do. So that's what I'm working on with that. And these, what I'm gonna do, sorry, we just got a notification from Facebook on my phone. What I'm gonna do with these is knit my normal, these are gonna be for me. I ended up doing the 2x2 rib instead of the 1x1 twisted rib, which I talked about. And then I'm going to do a certain leg length. I haven't figured that out yet. And then I'm going to do the heel flap and gusset heel, which is included as part of the Rose City Rollers socks pattern. And then do that foot and a rounded toe that is also in the Rose City Rollers pattern. So basically I'm making a Rose City roller with a leg. Just because I really like that heel, and I really like the way the pattern's written and stuff. So that's what I'm doing. And so I've decided that these are going to be sips.
Sips. You explained that to me before. What is
no,
that?
I just. Well, I don't know if I'm probably not the only person to have ever come up with that, but these are sips.
Socks in progress.
Socks in progress. All right, John. Oh yeah, John, your turn.
All right. So let me put this down.
Oh wait, no, I was gonna talk about what else are we up to at this point, because now we've done some knitting.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get my next. I'll prepare my next project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really love the feedback that we've gotten on the baking episode that we did. There will be more coming. I'm having a difficult time figuring out what I want to do. Plus, I've been for the last almost year now, I've been very particular about what I eat, so I've not been baking as much. That's not going to stop me. I'm going to get back to baking. But
I can't remember what I said it was.
you're going to do that one.
Okay.
So, having said that, we have a new artistic director. This episode's going to be 90 hours long. So the cake. So John is a member of the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus. I was a singer in the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus for like almost 10 years. Took a couple of years off and found knitting, which is part of the problem. But I'm going to rejoin in the fall. We have a new artistic director. His name's Gerald, and he. John coordinated a welcome event for Gerald, and I made the cake for it. So I'm going to insert the picture here, but it's the design that you'll see on it that looks kind of like tufted, like a tufted couch or whatever. I stole that from Joshua Jonathan. Why can I never remember his name? Joshua Jonathan Russell. Jonathan Joshua Russell. Anyway, he's Man About Cake on YouTube and Craftsy. I guess it's now Blueprint. And so what I did was I covered it in fondant that I had dyed kind of a gray color, and then I sprayed it with edible shine spray, silver shine spray, so that's how it kind of has that look. And then the stars at the top, on the top I made out of fondant, and the different colors and the arrangement of those stars are the logo of the chorus. And then the big thing for me on this cake was that I made my own fondant from scratch.
It was yummy, but
So,
it was
a challenge.
Yeah.
But I would do it. I would totally do it again, just because it's fun and you don't have to worry about buying fondant. It's cheaper. So anyway, that was that. And then the other thing is my head's gonna explode. I can't even. It's one of those things I don't want to talk about it, because if I talk about it, I'm afraid it won't be real. So I have the most amazing husband ever, like of all time. So we again, with the whole trying to save money for new air conditioner and all that stuff, there's a knitting event coming up, and so we were like, no, we can't afford it, blah blah blah. And then John's like, well, we could afford it if you went. Best husband ever. So this knitting event is a weekend so it's happening here locally in Minnesota. It's a weekend with Brooklyn Tweed, and it's gonna be Jared Flood and Gudrun Johnston and two other people from Brooklyn Tweed who, unfortunately, I don't know them. I think they're more on the business side of things or whatever, but it's a whole day with Jared Flood and Gudrun Johnston and those folks.
Right, and it's hosted by the Yarnery, which is
which
is the place you get Brooklyn Tweed in the Twin Cities. They have an amazing selection.
They have an amazing selection of Brooklyn Tweed, but just an amazing selection in general, and it's the cutest little store. It's like it's in a house, or what used to be a house on Grand Avenue, which is this really amazing street in St. Paul, Minnesota. So anyway, they just great store, great staff, everything. And I just saw on their website that they're also having an event that month with Arnie and Carlos.
Oh, cool.
So I think Arnie and Carlos are also coming to Stephen B.
Yeah, I think so too.
So
do you think there's all like people coming before? Because like Vogue Knitting Minneapolis is. Do you think those are coming in for that and then?
I bet you're right, because I think Vogue Knitting is coming to Minneapolis in November.
Yeah,
I bet that's
which
why.
We definitely can't afford to go full time. But I think you can get like partial stuff.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. But anyway, best husband ever, because I get to spend the day with Jared Flood and Gudrun Johnston and all those people. And I can't even remember it's not necessarily knitting classes. There's a second day where Gudrun Johnston teaches her Hap Shawl class. But it's seminars and just discussions about stuff, and I don't care what it is. I'm just so excited.
You're very starstruck.
I'm very starstruck. And then Ross from the Smells Like Yarn podcast,
that's how I found out about it.
Right. From he posted about it on Instagram.
And I'm like, oh, this looks interesting.
Because he smells like yarn on Instagram as well, right? Or
yep, and he's in Menominee, right?
Yeah, he's in Menominee, Wisconsin, which is about an hour away from us. And he, I'd watched his podcast and stuff, and then he posted that, and so now I get to meet him in person.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. So that's not happening till November, so I'm gonna.
But we'll keep talking about it.
I'm gonna pretend like it's not happening, because I'm afraid I'm gonna jinx it or something. So.
Yeah, it'll probably happen.
It's on the 17th of November. I did write that down.
Yeah.
All right, John.
So, another fiber news. We talked about going to the Manitoba Fiber Festival in September, and they have these patterns that some local designers have created for the event, and people are sort of knitting them as part of the projects, and you can post them. There's a hashtag on Instagram, which is like Manitoba, I can't remember. But you also do the Ravelry page. And so the one I picked they're called the Manitoba
Manitoba Maple Mittens?
Yes.
That is a tongue twister.
Manitoba Maple Mittens.
Oh my gosh, you can't.
Manitoba Maple Mittens.
Yes.
Manitoba Maple Mittens by Laura Harvey. And so I'm excited because, and Scott, I think we'll show a picture. They're super color
this
working.
is better close-up picture.
And so this is where I am right now. So it is. I got to the thumb, which I was very excited about. So it's got this great.
The colors you picked out are perfect.
So it's got this sort of tree pattern. This is the trunk of the tree, and these snowflakes, and then the palm.
I feel like that's like a traditional, like Norwegian, Swedish, thing.
It's like sort of, so that's what the palm looks like, and it's awesome. I really really like it, and it's just fun because it's one of those ones that I think what I've discovered like about color work is the way the pattern sort of reveals itself as you knit it. So like you do a row and you're like, oh my gosh, look at that. So anyway, this is where I am. It's being knit on 4s. These are ChowGoo 4s, Magic Loop.
These are part of our interchangeable set.
Yeah. And then the rib is on 2s.
Okay.
So, and then you do...
They can't see that, so...
Oh. The rib was a 1-inch rib on 2s, so it's really nice and tight.
You mean 1x1 rib?
Yes.
Instead of not a 1-inch rib.
Yeah, sorry. It's more than 1 inch. So it's a 1 inch on 2s, and then, went up to 4s for the color work. And so it's, again, ChowGoo's, Magic Loops. There's a little bit of laddering right here.
Let me see. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's fine. And so anyway, it's super fun to knit, and I'm doing like a couple of rows a day because it's really. What I love about it is it's really, the pattern's great, but like you have to pay the frick attention. Like you're like counting your squares and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I can only really do 2 rows at a time.
Before you go crazy.
A little bit.
So did you talk about the yarn yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
And I'm also doing it, so a couple of things. What's the yarn saying? So I'm knitting it inside out, Portuguese knitting, which we've talked about.
Witchcraft.
Which is really fun. But what's funny about it is, I didn't realize this, and maybe I did, but when you do a pattern inside out, you get a mirror image. So this is actually, this is the right, I'm doing the pattern for the right-handed mitten, but I'm knitting inside out, so it actually is the left-handed pattern.
Hang on. So I know we talked about this. So are you doing the pattern from there to that in this direction?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
So you're doing it from right to left.
Right.
You're doing the chart from right to left.
Yes.
But you're still getting a mirror image of
So
this.
if you look, and this we can't really see, like the tree
leans that way, but on here it leans that way.
It's super fascinating, really, really kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, and I don't know, and it's one of those things that I'm not sure, like for mittens, obviously the right-hand chart will make the left-handed mitten and vice versa, but I'm a little kind of thinking about like other color work stuff. How concerned should I be about that? If it's...
Well, you would just have to read the pattern from left to right. And it would work fine.
Would it?
Yeah.
You sure?
Well, yeah, because then you would end up with the mirror image.
So...
It would be as though you were holding it up to the light and doing it from there.
Okay. So... But you're supposed to read patterns right to left, right?
Correct.
Like manga style.
like Japanese, yeah.
Well, I mean, like you're reading. It's like funny because I was like, that's so weird. Because you're reading.
Well, it's because you knit from the right to the left.
Right. But you're basically reading you read the pattern opposite as like you read
a book. Because you knit
from the bottom to the top, from the right to the left. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, from the bottom to the right, from the bottom to the top, from the right to the left. Yes.
Right.
So I wonder if people must know this about. Right. So we would be interested on comments from people
about. Right, because inside out. I mean, again, it's.
So I guess if you're knitting inside out,
and I think I kind of noticed this when I was doing the I'm sorry, Todd. I forget your hat's name.
We'll insert it.
Yeah. That hat.
It's not Ragnarok. I keep thinking
it's not Ragnarok. It's like something else.
Yeah.
But
it was a word that we had trouble pronouncing. That's why we're not remembering it.
And so I remember doing the pattern, being like, and that was a pretty much a repeat. But there were a couple things that seemed a little bit backwards. And so, but like if it's regular color work, I don't think it really matters. Like you're doing snowflakes over and over again.
Well, if it's a symmetrical pattern, it doesn't matter.
Right. And this because it's a.
I mean, the problem you might run into. I mean, the reason why I don't think it's a problem here is because you've got the same number of stitches. What I don't know is how your thumb is not ending up on the wrong side.
It is on the wrong side.
Oh, because you're knitting it. This is ending up the left hand.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're knitting the right
hand chart, and it's giving me the left hand needle.
If these weren't two mittens, if this was like a one-sided hat or something like Stephen West has like hats that are not symmetrical where it like kind of swooshes over and stuff, then it would swoosh the wrong
side. Yeah. Okay.
If you had a horn coming out of your head on one side and you were trying to knit around the horn, it wouldn't work.
Okay. I will. So.
Or if you had two thumbs on one hand or something like that.
So for knitting for aliens,
luckily
and
human bodies are symmetrical, so it doesn't matter.
So anyway, I love this pattern. It's really fun. What's fun is I
can't think of an example of where you would knit something that wasn't symmetrical, or like didn't have
I mean, if you're doing
mittens are mirror images.
Well,
like
so
if both of your hands were this way, you'd be in trouble.
So like I think. Yeah, like a sweater's a circle.
Everything's symmetrical.
Yeah.
Anyway.
People go to... But anyway, it's fun because I've posted pictures of this.
So then it's not backwards.
Yes, it is.
When you knit this, it's going to end up looking like this, right? Because these are a mirror image of one another. So as you're knitting this, it's going to end up looking like this. Because this is the left-handed chart, which is a mirror image of the right-handed chart.
Right. The tree's going to be going a different way.
It's going to be going this way.
Right.
So what I'm saying is you're knitting this, but you're looking at this to knit it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I know. It's a little crazy.
Mind blown.
Anyway, it's kind of fun because there are a couple other people who are knitting the same mitten, and so it's fun to watch progress. And so the yarn I'm using is...
Okay, for somebody who fails color blindness tests, you do such a good job of picking out colors.
Yes. So the purple...
Like that hat you did for your mom. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my moments. So the rib is Copper Corgi Sport. Shoot.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Sport, and it's called Nutmeg, which is the hand. I mean the cuff. And the gray is just it's Cascade.
Cascade 220, which is
Cascade
worsted, right? Or DK?
I don't know.
Anyway, go ahead.
And then the purple is also Copper Corgi, and it's called Fig.
Is that sport weight?
Yeah.
And you swatched for this, and you had to use different needles, right? Than what called for in the pattern? Because the pattern was like a worsted pattern or something?
No, the pattern was a small. And it was done in... Oh, why don't we just look?
Oh, that's right, because the pattern was written for a small...
For an extra small.
That was
extra
the other
small.
thing, was the math of trying to figure out...
And it all ended up working out just fine.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be done in...
Oh, so this is... So in some countries, they say the ply, which indicates the weight.
Okay.
Which we don't do that in the United States. So she says, or any DK weight or light worsted yarn.
Right.
And you ended up using sport weight yarns.
Yeah.
And well, a Cascade 220, I can't remember. I feel like that's DK or worsted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended it up. I mean, it's working.
Yeah, it's totally working. And
because you swatched.
Yeah, I swatched the color work section, and it worked out.
Right. And then the pattern was written for 7 stitches and 7 rows per 1 inch for a woman's small, and then gives the measurements for that. So then we had to figure out, once you had swatched, we did some math to figure out.
Yeah, here's you can't really see it though. We did a lot of math.
We figured out we were making it way more complicated than it needed.
Right. It was
anyway. It's not even worth talking
about.
It
took an afternoon of figuring out. Not even ratios. It wasn't ratio.
It was like you had to do. Oh, it was algebra, because we figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Anyway,
we had to solve for X.
It was stuff that I've not done since I took the SATs 20 years ago.
Right.
So
we had to solve for X to figure out what we needed to do.
So anywho, I love this pattern. It's super fun. I think what I'm going to do, and just to kind of give myself momentum, is I'm going to go ahead and when I finish this, I'm going to start the other one and leave and do the thumbs together at the end.
I think people do that.
Yeah.
I feel like Scandier Knits.
Yeah, and then I feel like if I get really bored, they'll just be, thumb.
Well, have I done mittens? Yeah, I did that one mitten.
Yeah.
The thumb took like a second. The
nice thing about it is that because the cuff is smaller, I could actually I could do both at the same time. We'll see.
Somebody's attacking me over
So
here.
that's these, and then they will probably not have them both done by September 15th for the Fire Festival. Although, if we drive up there, I might.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right. That's that project.
All right. The next thing that I want to talk about is I'm knitting another of Kay Jones' Bakery Bear, from the Bakery Bears, another one of her stuffed animal.
Cody Knits bag.
Oh, Cody Knits bag.
You told me to remember that, too.
Well, that's because your viewers demand it.
Okay.
So, Cody Knits. Oh, my I didn't talk about that. My sock is in my Mrs. Brown's bag.
Mm-hmm.
One of her sock sacks from, I think I bought this like a year ago.
Yeah, you've had it for a while. It's kind of your go-to sock bag.
It really is. I just like it a lot. So then I wanted to knit another one of her stuffed animals. Just because it's fascinating to me how you do all these little pieces and it all
comes together. It's very cool to watch.
So, I had some yarn left over, or not left over, but I had some yarn that my mom bought me that was Yarn Cafe Creations, and it's, as you can tell, it's kind of crazy. It's turning out a little. Well, no, I guess that's probably pretty true to the right color, but it's these crazy colors. But you probably can't tell, but it's got little speckles of teal mixed in. And my mom bought it for me for my birthday, and it was the skein of yarn that's fingering weight, like sock yarn. And then it came with a bag, and I can't remember who, it was like the husband of Yarn Cafe Creations. I'm getting this all mixed up. Anyway, the husband makes bags, and I can't remember what the bag, but anyway, it was the bag and the yarn matched as far as color, because the bag was like this color.
Oh, was that your fox bag?
Yes.
Oh, fun.
Which I think is upstairs.
Yeah.
And then the inside was the teal. So, so this yarn is the Yarn Cafe Creations yarn. See, now I'm doubting myself, because I think the Yarn Cafe Creations has a daughter, and it was her yarn. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting that all wrong. If I can find the information, but I've had it for a while, so I don't know if I have the information anymore. This I bought as a contrasting color for some of the parts of the fox.
The fox's nose and ears.
And it's on my project page. It is Spud and Chloe yarn, and it's a blend of wool and cotton. And it was made, I think the goal for this yarn was to knit like summery sweaters and stuff, because it's wool, but it's also got cotton in it, so it's a lighter weight, not as heavy as like 100% wool. So, like I said, the fox, this is her fox pattern, and it's Mr. Fitzwilliams, I think.
Yes, Mr. Fitzwilliam Fox.
Mr. Fitzwilliam Fox. He works as a gamekeeper on a grand country estate in Berbyshire and likes nothing better than a walk through the woods on a crisp autumn day. He loves to collect leaves and acorns and tuck them into his coat pocket.
Aw.
So this is what the finished product will look like. And so I did the first stuffed animal I'd ever done. Actually, the only stuffed animal was her bear, the bakery bear. I think the Mrs. Bakery Bear was first, and then they did a Mr. Bakery Bear, and I did Mr. Bakery Bear. And so this is super fun because I've knit the head, and I put the eyes in, and then I've knit the nose, the muzzle that goes on, which right now looks like a beak, but once I stuff it and put the nose on and stuff. And then I've got, can you hold the head up? You don't have to hold the muzzle on, but. And then I've knit the 2 ears, so face it towards the, that's the, you've got it upside down.
Sorry.
These are the ears, which are super cool. So, oh, and this, I had never done this before. So you knit the ears, you knit them in the round, and they're these little triangles, and then you, oh, what is it called? Overstitching?
Double stitching?
No.
Because it's not double knitting.
Duplicate stitch.
Okay.
So I duplicate. So you basically, and I had to watch a Very Pink Knits tutorial on how to do this. But basically, you use a tapestry needle and the yarn, and you go over it using a tapestry needle in a certain pattern, and it ends up looking like knit stitches over top of the knit stitches that are already there. So it's awesome.
So aren't you marling this one?
Oh, well, I don't know if marling is what I'm
But
holding it double.
Yeah, you're
because
holding...
it's a worsted weight pattern, but I wanted to use this yarn, and so I'm holding this yarn double. Yeah. And since it's already variegated, is that what that's called? Holding it double, it doesn't really change the look of it.
Yeah, it's still cool though.
Yeah. And so that's why this is fingering weight and this is worsted weight, and they work together. And then I've also done the body, which I haven't stuffed yet. Oh, here it is. It looks like a little hat. But the head will go on top here, and then you'll put the arms and the legs and all that
sweater.
Stuff. So then it's got a sweater.
It's got a cardigan.
A cardigan with buttons and a scarf, and then it's got little socks that you knit, which I'm super excited about. And the cardigan has pockets, even. So the 2 buttons that I'm using for the eyes are actually, they're like stuffed animal eyes that I bought at a yarn store.
Knit and Bolt, right?
Knit and Bolt in Northeast Minneapolis, and then there's like a stuffed animal nose that you buy, which is just a normal little nose. And then I bought these buttons. I'm actually going to hold these up closer to the camera. I bought 4 of these buttons for the cardigan, to put on the cardigan. So I'm super excited about that. So I haven't decided totally for the colors of the cardigan and the socks and the scarf, although I have this crazy yarn that I got that was part of the Jimmy Bean's Wool Advent Calendar last year that I think I want to do the scarf out of.
Oh, that'd be cool, like the deep red?
No, the one that's a million different colors. Or no, did I get that from Jimmy? No, I didn't get that from Jimmy Bean. I don't know where I got that. Anyway, I'll show it in the future when I get to that point. So yeah, so I'm super excited about that, and I'm going to have that done in the next couple weeks.
Excellent.
They're so quick to do these, and people just like love them, because it's like, oh my god, especially people that have kids. Okay.
All right.
Oh, and this is a Cody Knits bag as well. Even though he doesn't sell bags.
He doesn't sell them, but we have a couple, and we love them. My next project is my vanilla project, not so much. This is the sweater vest. I haven't
seen it in forever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's the asymmetrical striped sweater vest. Anyway, so it is moving right along, and
Can I touch it?
Yes, it is baby alpaca. It's gonna be great. I love the colors, and it is all. Here are the 2 colors. I don't remember what they are. I just ordered these.
That's okay. It's baby alpaca.
Baby alpaca from
Blue Sky Alpacas.
Yeah.
Or
And
Blue Sky Fibers.
It doesn't matter because they're both discontinued colors.
Oh, that's right. They discontinued the colors.
I mean, they stopped making them or whatever. Like, so I've had to. I think I actually will have enough anyway, but I ordered extra ones just to be safe.
You found them on Jimmy Bean's Wool.
I found one on Jimmy Bean's Wool and one on Wool and Company or something like that. Anyway, I was able to find extras. So this is my. So anyway, I love these colors. It makes me really, really happy.
That is so awesome.
Yeah. And it's getting there. Like, and this is, 15 more inches, right? So yeah, it's good. And this is my bust swing. This is my bust thing. So, it's like 220 stitches per row, something like that, 228. And I can do a row on my bust strip. So, my goal is to have this done by November.
Very cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
Any more on that?
Nope.
All right, so I am knitting a hat, but I'm in the swatching stage. It is a hat by Todd, the Blunt Knitter, and it is in my. This bag is a tote bag that I bought in the gift shop at the Haunted Mansion in Disney World. It's bizarre, and I love it. So, the pattern is the Freezer Burn by Todd Michael Thomas. And so this is it's an awesome pattern, but it also gives you, like, you can do all kinds of different variations in color.
Right, so there's a worsted pattern, there's a 2-color pattern.
Fingering weight, and you can do
2-color or 3-color.
Yeah, as many colors as you want, basically. So I am using some acrylic. And the reason that I'm using acrylic is we have a whole bunch of acrylic from when we were, before we got addicted to more expensive...
Before we got expensive tastes.
Before we got expensive tastes. But like Jesse from Dye Monkey Yarns or Knit Up and Dye podcast and other people have said, I think acrylic gets a bad name from a lot of people, and but it does have its time and place. I am using this because I want to get at least one, if not multiple, hats done for Cody Knits, who is Cody Rear on YouTube. It's a Cody Knits podcast. He's doing a knit along, and I've forgotten the details of the knit along, except that he's looking for hats and he donates them to the cancer patients at the clinic, I guess, or the facility where he works as a nurse practitioner. So I am trying to get at least one hat done for that knit along. And so I decided to do this pattern because I know John had such a good time knitting Todd's pattern, which again we're going to put at the bottom. Well, it's something that we had trouble pronouncing. That's why we're not remembering it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we are Freezer Burn Variations on a Theme series by Todd Michael Thomas. So, anyway, I'm swatching on it. And I swatched and I didn't meet gauge. And I think that has a lot to do with the yarn. And so I'm swatching again with different needles. Right now, I'm using Chagu's. I'm using our interchangeable set. And I think these are 5s. So yeah, so I'm working on that. And I haven't gotten very far because I'm kind of focusing on the stuffed animal, the Mr. Fitzwilliam's fox, and any spare minute that I have to knit, all I want to do is knit a sock, which is nothing but a tube of stockinette. What's wrong with me? That's all I want to do. Okay. Is that everything? I think that's everything.
Are you going to talk
I thought we'd talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we want to do another knit along.
We do, and we have ideas.
We have ideas. We're not going to talk about it in this episode. Part of that is because at least one person has reached out to us about donating prizes. Now, that was 2 or 3 months ago. And I have no idea if that person's interested anymore. I wouldn't blame them if they said, you know what, take a hike. But I want to reach out to that person nonetheless and get some more details around that. Find out if that's still an option. If not, we'll donate prizes or we'll come up with something. But the goal is to have another knit along because they're super fun and we get such inspiration and we love to see all the different stuff. I would really like to do that. So
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. More to come on that. All right. So anything in summary?
Oh, I have a
Anything
question.
for the good of the order?
I have a thing that this is just me as I was going around. So anyway, I bought this yarn.
Oh, that yarn.
This yarn about a year and a half ago at Stephen B.
And you bought 90
million. It's called Odessa Gonzel Effect by
It's Glantz Effect.
Glance Effect. It's acrylic and virgin wool by Shown Creativity. I don't know. Anyway, so anyway, I bought this yarn. I was gonna do a sweater out of it.
Schöller Esslinger.
It's kind of
Schön kreativ.
Schön Creative. So I really like it, and I have so much of it, and there's no way I'm gonna make a sweater out of it because I'm just not. So I just don't know what to do. So if anyone has ideas of what might be a good kind of project for...
It's Romanian yarn.
Oh, really?
It is
Okay.
51% wool, 49% acrylic.
Right, and I think the acrylic is probably the
That's
shiny
parts,
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's you can't really see it, but the shiny stuff changes color, and then also does the underneath change?
No. It's all underneath is all gray, but the shiny goes from purple to orange to gold.
No, because that's just the okay.
That's purple.
Colorblind. So anyway, I really like it.
Do you?
I just feel like there's somewhere in the world is a project that this would be amazing for.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. Like, would this be good? Like something with a cable? I don't know. It's such unique yarn, and I got it because I was really attracted.
It's wool and acrylic.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
it's not like it's
like I was thinking maybe like a hat or something, but the thing is, like, do I just do a vanilla hat with it and
I was trying to figure out the weight. So it's 50 grams per skein. You've got like 20 skeins of it or something.
I know so much of it. I mean, it was yeah.
you
Literally,
were gonna do a sweater.
I was doing a sweater out of it, and then it just proved to be too challenging to work
It's
with.
85 meters per gram, 50
Okay.
grams, and I could do the it calls for 7s braids, and I could do the whole wraps per inch test, but I don't have that in front of me.
So and I just don't know what to do with it, and I have all this yarn, and
What do people think we should do with this?
I know, I have no idea. Like I've been pretty good. Like so, I'm really trying to
Let's not set it on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it is acrylic. Just melt. It would half melt and half catch on fire. I'm trying to be really good about using stash yarn for stuff because we have a lot of amazing yarn. So, for example, we did that retreat in Georgia a year and a half ago, and I bought all this copper corgi yarn.
I'm sorry. Why does our cat have tufts of hair hanging out?
We're not even gonna think about
I think
that.
Junior, he must have been fighting. Okay, go ahead.
So we bought all this yarn. I bought all this yarn from the trunk show, and I think I've used every skein that I bought there. Now with the mittens, I've found a use for all that yarn. So I really like doing that, and all this yarn is just.
I mean, you know what? We should almost do like a swatch, like a
yeah,
square,
for sure, and see what it looks
and
like.
see what it looks like, and maybe show it on the next episode. And see
Yeah,
what
that's a good
people
idea.
think
Because I feel
we should do with
it's
it.
so.
Because that way we could see what
Like
it looks like.
what does it look like, and what would it maybe look like in different stitches, even like
Oh, like do garter,
or
do stockinette.
See if it. I mean, I don't think it would look good with anything like a cable because it's so.
I wonder what like thick socks would look like.
Ooh, that would be
Like
fun.
warm socks for the winter.
Would they be so? Would it be okay to do that because the acrylic would make it stronger?
I think so.
Okay. All right, so that helps. I'll
Let's do.
do a swatch
stockinette
and see.
swatch,
Because I mean, we've got enough yarn. Like using a swatch is not going to break the bank. Literally, we have a basket full of this stuff.
yeah,
So.
it was a nice idea.
I know, and it was literally. I mean, it was.
It was less than $7 a skein.
Yeah.
Because it was $7, but then it
It was like 30%
on
or something like
clearance,
that.
Yeah.
So, and I really like it. So anyway, and it's
Okay, I'm yawning. That's a bad sign.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for the feedback that you give us and the interaction you give us. It's like so fun to read the comments and comment and
Yeah.
and respond back to you guys and everything else.
Yeah.
So,
And Patrick,
can you please call our neighbors and
tell them to leave our yarn alone.
tell them not to steal our knitting supplies? We would appreciate it.
Um,
Anyway, thanks everybody.
Thanks, Aaron.
Bye.
Bye.